is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, the Herald, and posted on the bulletin board of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Craig.
Here.
Councilmember Douglas.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lair. Here. Mayor Beck.
Here. Before we begin the work session, I have one proclamation to read. It's called Put the Brakes on Fatalities Day, which is October 10, 2012. Whereas across the nation, traffic crashes caused 32,310 fatalities in 2011 and are the leading cause of death for young people ages 15 to 34. And whereas in New Jersey, 627 individuals lost their life in traffic crashes in 2011, whereas alcohol-related crashes accounted for 24% of the state's traffic fatalities, while speed-related fatalities for 2011 climbed to 174 from 61 recorded in 2007, and whereas motorcyclists, bicycle riders, and pedestrians face increased risks on New Jersey's roadways as people opt for alternative modes of transportation, and whereas 92 motorcyclists, 117 bicyclists, and 143 pedestrians were killed in New Jersey in related crashes in 2011, whereas safe driving behaviors such as buckling up every ride, obeying posted speed limits, stopping for pedestrians in crosswalks, using crosswalks when walking, avoiding aggressive driving behaviors, never driving impaired, wearing proper safety gear when riding a motorcycle or bicycle, and focusing solely on driving by avoiding distractions can dramatically reduce the number of traffic-related injuries and deaths. Therefore, I, Michael Beck, Mayor of Lower Township, do proclaim October 10th, 2012, Put the Brakes on Fatalities Day, and call upon everyone to put these life-saving behaviors into practice to improve safety on the roadways in our community and throughout the state. Thank you. I should get paid extra for that. All right, we move down to the consent agenda. Are there any council comments on any of the items on the consent agenda? Fine. Is everybody fine? We open up for public comment on the consent agenda? Yes, sir.
John Skoronsky, 607 Arctic Avenue. Number 246, request a reduction of performance guarantee for amusement partnership. What does that mean? What is that?
That's when they are required. That's an escrow that they hold. Hold on, let me get to that. 246. And when they comply, let me see. They had a performance guarantee in the amount of $132,000 for the site plan, and they recommended improvements having a total value of $77,913. So the township engineer recommended we rebate them $54,700.
Who is them?
Well, that would be the Amusement Partnership USA, whoever they might be. It's a corporation, and they have to, in other words, when you get certain permission to do certain things, and you have to put down a certain amount of money to guarantee that you do them, and once that's done, we make sure that you get the money back that's coming to you once it's approved.
I'm still not sure I understand.
It's their money they put in escrow.
Yeah, but who is that? Where are they located?
Oh, I don't know where it's located.
What it says, I believe it's the property next to the high school where they're putting the solar field.
Okay.
Okay.
That's correct. It's the solar field next to the high school that, there was just an article about how the high school's going to reduce their energy
Right.
costs.
Right.
That's the name of the corporation.
We have lot and lot number for it. But it comes as a recommendation from Bill Galestock and the
I
planning
just
board.
didn't know what it was.
Okay,
All right, thank
fair
you.
enough. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Mr. Butler?
Ed Butler, number 7 Tower Bay Drive, Vos. Just to expand on that, what you're talking about actually is this article was put in the paper then when they took this and took it over from being an amusement center and went to the school, where the school is now going to put a solar field in there. So the solar field will be supplying them, and you're reducing that for the owners of that property. Is that what you're doing on that?
No.
Well, it's not going to be an amusement situation.
No.
That the amusement name comes in because they stored their amusement equipment there. It was part of Steel Pier and that organization. And the performance bond is reduced by the amount certified by the engineer. They don't need that total amount of money, so they're going to refund the 50-something thousand the mayor said back to the applicant.
So what
That's a
you're saying-
proper procedure to format how it works.
What you're saying too, they're not going to have any amusements there, just storage.
That was prior storage. Matter of fact, it's a big improvement from what that lot looked like to what you see now. Today, it's a solar field that's going to reduce energy to your school, which will in return reduce taxpayers funding the energy costs for that school. So it's a good thing.
I'm looking at it right here.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good picture of it.
When it's in there, but also with that, being it's close to the school like that, and it was a good article in the press about that, explaining a lot of it. And with that too, has anybody in the township, just to take one step further, has anybody in the township between administration, executive, or anybody else explored where Bennett's Crossing, the field next to it, which the high school also uses extensively, as far as the cost savings for electricity with that could be incorporated in this?
That hasn't been expanded yet. We're waiting to see what happens at the high school and how that works out before we make an approach to see if we can hook into that solar field. There's not a whole lot of energy use out there at that field. The most draw is when we have those lights on for the night games. But that's something to explore. It's a good point.
Where you can go a little more than that, and not getting off the subject, within this subject, as far as the commissary stand and everything involved with that it would be a reduction to this township and to the cost for the taxpayers on the electrical part of it, if that could be incorporated and somebody would really look into it and not wait till the last minute and say we can't do it, that it could be done prior to it. As this article explained, the cost savings would be significant to this township too.
Well, the council has a good rapport with the school board, and the manager's office has a good rapport with the administration there, so we will have ongoing discussions about that.
We'll reach out on it.
Somebody will be in touch with them, what you're
Yes.
telling me.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Is there any other comments on the consent agenda? Close the consent agenda.
Approval of the council minutes from September 17, 2012. Membership applications for Zachary Molchler and Brian Mounds for Town Bank Volunteer Fire Company. Resolution 2012-242 through 2012-249.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda as read.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Douglas?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lair?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to the regular agenda, 2012-250.
A resolution authorizing payment of vouchers for Douglas Landscaping in the amount of $1,500 for lot clearing.
Are there any council comments? We'll open up for public comments on this, close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2012-250.
And a second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Douglas?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Lair?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to administrative reports. Any comments or questions from council? Move down to council comments.
I'll keep it quick. I'd like to thank everybody that came out for a run for the Fawn, especially Eileen for doing another wonderful job. And that will be all for me.
Clint?
Eileen, that was an outstanding job, and it was a moving event. And I was glad I was there to see Last year I didn't have an opportunity to be there, but this year I was. It was very nice. Thank you.
And Eileen, I'm going to pile on with thanking you for that. We can see why last year the Chamber of Commerce designated you Person of the Year for the intense work you do for veterans inside this township. On behalf of all of them, I want to thank you. That's a good job. We have some announcements here. I got a plethora of announcements here. Dune Shrub Planting, Coxall Creek, Thursday, October 4 at 10 a.m. Volunteers needed. This is our watershed ambassador. We have a new one. Before we had the young lady, Erin Walsh, that we honored here at council for her work. And we've got a new guy, which we'll meet Thursday, October 4th, 10 a.m. if you're around. One that's real important that's coming up is the Wednesday, October 10th, the health fair at the rec center from 2 to 6. And, you know, that's a huge plus for all of our residents. And we moved it to 2 to 6 to get a lot of the working people, to give them time to get here. And approximately 16% of the adults in this state have no health care. And this would be a great thing if you yourself, or if you have children that fall under this umbrella here, that they're having this health fair. It's right here at the rec center, and it's put on by Genesis Healthcare. And they have all sorts of different things, everything from hearing, screening, vision, blood sugar, blood pressure. And just maybe somebody might come through there that has a need, and we can cut something off at the pass rather than having a major medical disaster impact them. Maybe we'll pick up on somebody's blood pressure and save their life or whatever. They actually are going to have flu shots, but you must bring your Medicare card, covered by Medicare Part B, if not enrolled in HMO and Aetna Medicare. All others, it's $30 per shot. So you're going to have to pay if you don't have any insurance, but they will have, the pharmacy from Acme will be here to provide the flu shots. Okay, so that's at the rec center, October 10, 2 to 6. We have the 5th and 6th grade team dance at the rec center on Friday from 7 to 9, October 5th and November 16th.
It's every Friday.
On Fridays, okay. I have to go to Dollar General, get some more classes here. Wrestling registration, October 6th through 21st at the rec center. Town Bank Oktoberfest, October 12th through 14th at the Cape May County Airport. The Cape May County Flu Shot Clinics, and I think these ones are free if I'm not mistaken. This is Sunday, October 14th, 8:30 to 2 p.m. I'm going to read that again. That's the flu shot. That's at Kendall Ford up in Middle Township. Sunday, October 14th, 8:30 to 2 p.m. And then Tuesday, November 6th from 7:30 to 10:30 a.m. at St. John of God Parish Hall. Patient consent forms for all the county clinics are available in the clerk's office. Youth basketball registration, October 20th through November 4th. And Lower Township leaf pickup begins November 18th. And that's enough of these announcements. And with that, we go to the call to the public.
Mayor,
Yes,
leaf pickup starts November 18th in the first zone.
and Zone 1, the Villas area?
I don't know yet. That schedule will come out
It's
in
what?
the middle of October.
Never, okay, well, you actually can go online and see this, correct?
Middle of October, the schedule will be on.
The middle of October it'll be on there, but the actual pickup begins November 18th
In the first zone,
in Zone 1.
starts until then.
right. So everybody has to wait until their scheduled time.
Okay. Thank you. Call to the public. If you have a question or comment, please step forward. Mr. Yes, sir.
How you doing? Bill Greenfield, Dulles area. I just wanted to state my opinion on something. not doing it for any kind of political reasons. But I've noticed some of the councilmen have come out lately against the fishing pier. It's being studied and proposed. And I just think this would be a good thing for the township. I mean, we spend a lot of money on recreation for our kids and on rec hall and staff and all that. And this would be something for some of the older people. It's a good, clean, wholesome activity, you know. We're going to get a state grant for this. I'm sure we're going to have to kick in some money ourselves, but we spend enough on recreation for some of the other individuals in the township, and I don't see what the drawbacks are.
Well, it's, you know, the whole discussion is in the committee right now. If anybody feels for or against it and wishes to attend the peer committee meetings, feel free to do so. But, you know, they may decide if they like it, they may decide they don't like it.
I mean, I'm sure some of the residents in the area are against it, but I think for a lot of the people, I mean, you got a lot of people that can't afford, don't have a boat, can't afford to go out on party boats, fish on that jetty pier. That's kind of a little bit treacherous there.
Thank you.
There might be some thinking on that, but council's basically voted 5-0 twice to move forward with the feasibility and to look into the idea.
Yes, well, I see a couple
So
of
it's-
councilmen are,
They might be saying
Campaigning
something,
against
but
I'm not going to mention anything.
I haven't heard anyone. I'm just saying, we're trying to keep this not political, but right now, we're at a feasibility
You're on the
level.
committee, are you still in favor of it? Or?
I am in favor of it, if it's feasible, economically feasible for the township.
Yeah, we're not doing a square peg in a round.
We haven't.
I understand
we're
it's
trying to
still
keep
being
it.
studied,
It's
but
gotta
from
take
what I've
some
been
time.
reading, you know, a couple councilmen
Right.
have come out against it.
Okay, I haven't read anything like that. I just know they voted that way, so.
I only know what takes place up here as far as the voting.
Okay, I just wanted to...
Just to address that, real quick. I think I made a comment regarding the fishing pier, and I think I prioritized it by saying that, and I'll state it here. I think it's a good idea, yes, but I think I prioritize that there are other issues, particularly in Ward 2, regarding the Roseanne area and some of the places, the streets around there, that I think the drainage needs to be addressed too. I think that, to me, what I said is I would prioritize that over a fishing pier. But I'm not against the fishing.
And if it was coming out of the township money, I would also. We've said this from the beginning, we haven't spent one penny on that pier, not one penny. And before we do, even though council already authorized us to spend money, we haven't.
I mean, I understand there's a state grant involved, but there's...
Well,
gonna be
it hasn't come to
I'm sure there's
fruition.
bound to be some
Listen,
township monies expended, but...
this council has not ignored over the past few years. I don't know if anybody on council knows how much money we spent on roads and on water problems. I can tell you, $4.6 million. We have either
understand that there's,
spent in the past 4 years, or we have proposed to spend, and we will continue to
I
spend.
understand that there's road problems. Matter of fact,
Right.
3 or 4 meetings ago, I got up and asked if
Right.
there was some kind of plan in place
And
for road improvements. He said, oh, well, that's all
Right.
capital, we've got...
we're not
that
ignoring
under
that. That'll be taken
considerations,
care of also. But this pier only comes about if the committee approves it, and if it's feasible and it's
Right.
economically
I understand that.
possible due to the support of the region, not just here.
I mean,
County, state, and I
what
understand.
they could do too is if they had to, impose a minimal fee to get on the pier.
Well,
If you need somebody to monitor it.
That is stuff that you can bring up,
Right.
come to a committee meeting.
Okay.
That's the
When are they
next
held?
place. The next one, we're waiting for a date for the state to get back to us, because right now, when we say we're in a feasibility, we're at the beginning stages to see where we're at.
Right.
And all this council is waiting for the committee to give them a report so they can make an informed decision. Right now, we're not at that point.
Well, like I said, I just
The
want
only
to voice my
decision that
opinion.
was made was to talk to the state to see if, and this was made by the committee, which was to reach out to the
Yeah,
state.
I understand all, the main reason I got up is because, like I said,
Okay.
I've read that some of the council
Thank you.
members are kind of coming out
Well,
against it.
you really, the next pure committee meeting, I'll make sure you know when it is, and you can
Right.
attend that and watch the workings of it at that point.
Thanks.
Okay? Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Joe Lake,
Yes, sir.
West Place, also building a home on Glenwood Place. I have a few questions. Probably for the manager, I think you can ask him, can I ask him the questions?
Well, it depends on what they are.
Okay.
I mean, just...
Basically, okay, I can understand that.
What is the issue about, Joe?
Okay, basically in May this year, I brought to the attention of the manager's office, first through code enforcer, I went through the chain of command, that there was an impediment on Glenwood Place.
Is this part of our litigation, or is this part of a closed session we've had?
That's correct, and that's the other
Well,
question.
and I think that we're really kind of, the solicitor, Mike, are we kind of like unable to discuss this in public?
Well, let me just say that there's a neighborhood dispute between Mr. Lake and his neighbor, Mr. Franklin, and it's in the court right now to be mediated.
But that's not the question. It has nothing to do with the mediation or anything in the courts.
Does it have to do with that incident?
I want to know, I
Okay,
want
go
to know prior to that time, I want to know why it took 1.5 months for anything to happen. The only time anything happened is when the actual incident happened with this neighborhood dispute. So I want to know why it took so long, because in 2007, on Crest Place, it took the former manager and solicitor 2 days to tell the person there to move the fence. And I want to know why it's taking 1.5 months to even get anything done. This has nothing to do with litigation.
I can't speak to what happened in 2007, but
Right.
in this instance, there have been, at least verbally, threats of litigation from various quarters having to do with the right-of-way out there, whether the objects in the right-of-way need to be ordered to be removed immediately. We've been out there. Council has my confidential opinion on the matter.
Right.
I have recommended that we let this neighborhood dispute move forward. The adjacent homeowner has been put on notice that in the event that portion of the right-of-way is required for public use, anything in it will have to be removed at his expense. And that's sort of the status of it at the moment.
Thank you.
Okay, my question to the solicitor is very simple. Why do we have code enforcement? Why do we have construction officials? When I'm building my home, I had to have certain setbacks. And in fact, I ordered a survey paid for my own money saying that on Glenwood Place, I think the audience should know this, that certain rules are applied differently depending on the person. Now, there's an ordinance about weeds and other impediments, grass and other impediments. Right now, I'm reading in the paper where the township is making people, and I think today, $1,500 was charged against someone to remove or to improve the property to the township's likings, okay? Basically. Now, my feeling is, why do we have rules and regulations? Why do we have surveys? Mr. Solicitor, in 2007, it took 2 days for them to remove the fence in the very exact situation. And we're not talking litigation, we're talking prior to litigation. What is the agenda here? Why am I being discriminated against and retribution because of an unsafe, unlawful situation? That's my point. And that's basically it. And since the closed session, I feel that I have a right to the minutes if my name is mentioned. And I believe the township has a right to enforce the rules and regulations. Because then we have anarchy. We have one individual, according to the survey, 7.6 feet in the roadway. We have another individual who has a 12-foot concrete pad that they just did this year. So what do we have here on Glenwood Place? We have anarchy.
Well, Mr. Link, let me just cut to the chase and tell you, since we're in litigation with this thing, I'm not prepared to sit here and discuss this. And there's litigation in here at some point. We had a closed session on this. And reality is, if you want to come in and see the manager, he's there all the time.
I have been writing to him, calling him. This gentleman does not
And we have gotten some of
respond.
your correspondence, and our confidence in what the solicitor's advice that he has given us is where we're at right now. And it's got to play its course out.
Okay, and here's the survey. Would you like a copy of the survey that I paid for?
You can give it to the solicitor, and it can be part of the package that we already have.
Like, the solicitor and the township manager works for you, Mr. Beck?
They do,
Counsel.
but they're professional, and the solicitor's a professional, and his legal advice is something that we take.
Okay, and I also believe everyone up there is professional also.
We are, but not when it comes to legal matters. That's why we rely on him. So if
Okay.
you would give him that, I
That's fair
can
enough.
assure we'll get a copy of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Steve Chef, Town Bank.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, ladies and gentlemen, since September 5th, I have been called or approached by more people than I could count. Veterans, seniors, young people, civic group leaders, churchgoers, etc., etc., etc. There are a few of them here tonight. It has been a humbling experience this past month to be contacted by so many people who apparently haven't forgot what I've done over the years. Serving as a committeeman for about 25 years and a ward leader for several of those years, I have made many friends. My job was and is to help people, regardless of their affiliation, and I guess I must have helped a heck of a lot of people. Most of the people have expressed frustration about the action of certain council members, especially when it comes to appointments. They feel the actions of these members might be of their own benefit and not that of the people's. There are many scenarios. I have 8 pages. Those who know me know I make copious notes. I have 8 pages of notes, but I boil these down to just a couple. For example, last year an attempt was made to obtain money from the MUA. The MUA is supported by its customers, not by our taxpayers. Not everyone is a customer of the MUA. And some of the people who are not customers of the MUA make a lot more money than a lot of the people who are. However, the only person on the MUA board who voted in favor of giving that money to the township was a recently appointed person for the third 5-year term. The other thing to remember is the person who pushed to have that person there. Had that been the case that you received the money, his paycheck and part of his pension in the future, in small measure, but in some measure, would have to be paid for by the MUA. To me, this is wrong. It is dead wrong. Appointing to the people to the MUA board certainly should be without any stipulations. Almost everyone indicated they find it difficult to support certain people, especially those who have a habit of unnecessarily creating problems and who choose people to do their bidding who are less than satisfied. Many people ask me who I might vote for. I told them, those people who have a strong education, a vast experience, an absolutely clean record, and a strong record of putting people, not self, first. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council? Yes, sir.
Brian McEwing, Town Bank Road. I have 2 comments. One is more a point of order. I got here just about 45 seconds before 6 o'clock, and the meeting was underway. It's published for 6. Can we start at 6 and not before in the future?
I believe it was 6, but I'll stand corrected if it wasn't.
It was a little bit
Okay.
before that. So you were into the resolutions when I sat down, and it was at that point about 30 seconds before
We'll have to double check.
before 6 o'clock. So I appreciate you just
right.
wait till the right time.
Okay.
The second point is, and it kind of plays into what's been, a number of people spoke before council this evening, and when you look at the official minutes online, and I assume they're published, they're official, is that correct? Once they're
Yes.
published? Yeah,
Yes.
they're adopted minutes?
Right.
There's a lot of paraphrasing in those minutes, and by paraphrasing, what I'm saying is, you heard Mr. Sheff say a lot just before me.
I understand.
Not every word gets into those minutes, and it might be better for council to take a look at how they publish minutes and only maybe shorten it to Mr. Sheff's addressed an appointment, as opposed to partial paraphrasing versus verbatim transcript of what's said before council. So it's just an idea for you guys to consider, that if it's an official minute, you need to be careful about what's published and what isn't published, because you're adopting it.
Well, the other end of it is that if we put every word in that was spoken at some of the council meetings, it would be basically a book. But your
And
point is well taken.
that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is maybe you should put less.
Well, that's
It's
what
published on TV.
Well, that's what I'm
And
telling
the
you.
videos are available,
Well,
so
we
maybe you ought to
have-
just limit it and say, comments were made by Mr. Sheffs, comments were made by Mr. Lake about whatever issue they commented about, and anybody who's concerned can go look, rather than seeing someone's version of it. I don't know whose version it is, but it's obviously filtered from what's actually stated here in front of council.
Well, there's always access to find out whether it's the tapes. I mean, people can listen to the whole
understand
thing,
that.
Brian.
What I'm saying is, when you
I know,
adopt minutes,
well,
you're
everything-
adopting portions of what was said to council,
Right.
and some portions are not within those minutes. That's my point.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address council? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, my name is
Good
Anna
evening.
Coombs, and I live in North Cape, May. I'd like to address the animal issue on our beaches. It has become horrendous. It really is. It's just not in the summer, it's all year round, and it's become more so. Somehow, I wish we could come up with just an area for the animals so we don't have confrontations. I find it every day I go on my beach, I consider my beach. I think we're entitled to a people's beach. It has become an animal beach.
Right.
It's completely out of hand. I walked down the street today to my beach, 4 piles of, why? I mean, we take our children there, our grandchildren. We as citizens that pay taxes should not have to confront this. I'm not alone with these feelings, and I wish and I hope somehow we can address it.
I agree with you. Mike, have we written tickets down there?
We have, the animal control comes under the police department now, and we changed that several months ago. And the police have been checking on it, the animal controls have been down there on Saturdays and Sundays checking. The bottom line is, you know, no matter what council does, it's people. I love my dog, like every member of the council, I know they're all animals, we're sharing pictures, but people just are rude, ignorant,
Absolutely.
and if they can't clean up their dogs, I imagine what they do with their children. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, we're going to have a designated area. It's the only way I can deal
Well,
with it.
the problem with the designated areas, they wouldn't care anyway. I mean, that's the whole issue. You could put a designated area over here or somewhere over here, and they're still going to go down there. What we really need to do is to put more enforcement down there. I mean,
But you can't do that 24/7.
Well,
I realize.
You're absolutely right. I mean, council's provided bags, litter bags for
You have.
for the dogs, but people are just gonna, I mean, you know, I've been on it, and I know you've supported the issue, and council supports it. I know that the Councilman Douglas goes down there, walks his dog a lot. He said he's seen an improvement, but it gets down to people that just don't care.
No.
And they see nobody's around, the dog downloads, and then they just actually put, if they do put it in the bag, they throw it up into the,
And they don't care whether you
Sand
care or
dunes.
not.
Yeah.
Last week, I was down with my
Right.
family, and this dog was loose, came right up to us. We were eating our sandwiches. And I says, "Get your dog." She didn't respond. I said, "That dog has to be on a leash." She said, "If you don't like it, call the police."
Part of the problem is that some of our neighboring communities like Cape May and Stone Harbor and Avalon have advertised that we have a dog beach.
Absolutely.
And we've done everything, including my assistant Eileen has went onto the animal sites to correct them that we are not a dog-friendly beach. It's our beach, And if you do have a dog down there, it must be on a leash, and you must clean up after it, but that has caused us a lot of problems, where other towns have said, go to Lower Township, it's a dog-friendly beach.
So what do we do?
It's like, not in my backyard, not in my town.
I'd like to see increased enforcement with no warnings. Write the tickets and then publish it in the papers. So that, people, that there's, then we know, because then the word gets out that we're serious about the enforcement issue. But I don't like the idea of warnings. I mean, we
It's
published it
gone.
enough, write
It's
the
over.
tickets,
It's
and
over.
put more people down there if we have to do it. And reach out to the police department and ask them to do it also.
They have been, they've been doing additional patrol, even the police officers have been actually coming out on the beach. And I frequent the south end of, down by Ferry Road with my dogs on the weekend. And I've confronted people myself, walking on the beach, and I know exactly what you're saying.
Right.
And they come back with that same kind of comment. I said, that's fine, I have a phone, I call the police, and I tell them, they'll be here in just a few minutes, just for you. And several tickets have been written because of my calls. And I look at it this way, I'm on the beach, I keep my dogs leashed, I pick up after my dogs, that's the way everybody else should. And
But they
don't, and I understand that, because we did a beach cleanup one time down there, and it was all in the dunes.
It's terrible. And it's just not the vacationers, it's also residents that live here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And that's a sad thing about it.
But I think the increased enforcement, Mike, I think maybe you gotta address this, they gotta come up north on the bay, a little bit further up towards Harpoon Henry's, up in that area, because that's,
Well, is there anything
frequent
we
more.
can do? 'Cause
Yeah, call as soon as you see somebody. That's the key. And we'll make sure that it's a priority that somebody gets over there and gets them. I mean, it's hard to put somebody down there in a lifeguard stand.
Oh, I understand that.
24/7,
That's
we
why I
have
said it can't
other
be done
responsibilities.
24/7, I realize that.
But just as the word got out that we weren't writing tickets, once we start writing them, and once we start enforcing it, then the word will get out that they're serious about what we're doing. So, Mike, I'm sure you'll pass this on to our people, that there's no more warnings, just write the tickets.
Absolutely. Anything you can do is appreciated, just not by me, but
Thank you.
all my neighbors that are encountering.
We understand. I
Thank you.
wish there was a quick solution, but it's going to take time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes?
On the issue of dogs, I have a dog and I walk him down there maybe 4 or 5 times a day. I need it for my therapy. But he's a wonderful dog and I pick up after him. I guarantee it, he's the only thing I take that from. But about a week or so ago, I was down there and there was a dog running loose. And it appeared rather vicious. And if people do nothing else, they should remember this. 886-7211.
Is that your home phone?
No.
That's the number.
2711, Steve.
2711, Steve.
Huh?
2711, the police, 2711.
2711?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not an emergency number.
He was there within 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? So
Okay.
not all, that number is terribly important and not,
Right.
and I'm sorry I swapped 2 numbers on him, but he does a fine job. He does a fine job down at the canal too, okay? So it's not all bad.
Thank you. Mr. Buck?
Ed Butler, just have a comment on that too. I live on a bay. I'm fortunate to actually live on a bay and see this. I've seen the police out there with their ATVs already. And I'm not down in North Cape May, I'm up in the villas. I see this action where they're going on, and they did look, and you still have this problem on the bay. As far as anybody with dogs, they let them run wild, they take them out, the dogs have a good time, no, that's fine, but they're not under control. And as you suggested, that they write the tickets, they were looking at, they were out there real good on it. So I know that it's being taken care of to that degree. That's the first thing. The other thing is, Steve Shed's come up and Mr. McEwen came up and we're talking about this. I just have a basic question. September 16th meeting, there was a resolution that was withdrawn and tabled. Well, my question is right now, to each one of the councilmen, Is that position going to be filled, and is there actually a motion to have that position filled as far as any of the councilmen? When's that going to occur?
Well, I mean, any councilman can make a motion, you can put it on the agenda. I don't have any plans to move forward with that for a little while. If somebody else wants to, that's up to them. And you know, the whole concept of going up and down the line, I'm not sure I need to do that, but I'm just saying that if somebody wants to put it on the agenda, they can. That's the way we work here.
Well, there's a vacancy there, and it should be
And
filled
there's no-
eventually. Whoever put
my
it on,
person-
whoever put it on, whoever took it off, then it's still
It was
available.
taken off because we couldn't move forward. There was no majority vote for any individual candidate. As far as intentions to put it on, if you're asking me personally, no, I don't have any intentions to put it on right now.
But let me get back
They
to
have 4 people. that-
Mr. Butler about the dogs. The instruction was to the authority on the beach, the police and the animal control, was to give warnings, what we were talking about a few weeks ago, and then start issuing summonses. As you heard tonight, summonses have been issued, and we're going to do the best we can, but it's just like cell phones. You know, the police are very, very busy, and you see it, we all see it. Young people especially are on the phone a lot. For them to enforce that, they just can't be everywhere, but we're doing the best we can. Now, we have the Ponder Lodge, which people go over there and safely walk their dogs and enjoy the environment. The CAB's talked about maybe a dog park in front of the MUA down here on that partial ground. So I'm just telling you what I know, and we're going to do everything we can to clean that beach up. It is the people's beach. So, thank you.
All right, very
If you
good.
go to
I
Coxsall Creek
appreciate your
Wildlife-
answers on that. As far as that goes, it's not going to change anywhere along that way because people will do the same thing unless.
Well, then they'll pay a fine.
And they get, they get tickets and stuff like that.
That's the key.
And if you go to the Coxsall Creek Wildlife Management Area, please clean up after your dog there too, please.
Anybody else wish to address council? Yes, sir. Gentleman in the back. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ray Blickinger, 1700 Washington Boulevard, North Cape, Maine. This is again about the dogs. Couple situations, things I think it should be looked at. We are one of the few areas where there are beaches and people enjoy them a lot. North Cape, May, Town Bank, wherever you're at in the village. But up there predominantly you're getting a lot more people and there are more dogs. And I've noticed more of them on the loose at times. Now, we have the tides, and when the water comes up and it's high tide, the beaches come very small. And that makes a problem. Even the ones on leashes, because, you know, you have small kids, grandchildren like I have and stuff like that, they'll come up. Some, they get very frightened. You know, you have big dogs, little dogs, you have people coming up with, some of them have 2 or 3 of them. So I think it has to be addressed in some way. One thing I was thinking, just like they do like Wildwood with the boardwalk with bicycles, there's a limited time.
Right.
You know, I've seen it down in Florida. They could have pets, they have areas.
It might be, you know, and you know, my advice is council decision, but incrementally. Let's increase the enforcement, and if that doesn't work, then we'll come back and discuss whether we want to do something different as far as setting limits on the hours. But then it becomes an enforcement on that too.
Yeah.
You can put signs up, say no dogs here from 10 to 6, and people will come down anyway. So, you know.
Maybe they would, people would get, if you could do like a trial area and see how this works. There's other things I've gone to other parks, beaches, where they actually have an area set aside, and that's the only area dogs can go. They can't go down to the water.
Right.
You know, I had a dog myself that passed away. I love to go down there on a leash, see the sunset, stuff like that.
You're right.
Early morning, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You know? But, you know, you have children down there, they're playing, you know, they don't know, some of the people, they just kick some sand over it, you know,
Right.
boom, boom, the kids.
We do. We hear you. I mean, there's no.
I know you do, but I
Yeah.
mean, I guess the sentiment is basically that we want to continue to allow dogs on our beaches, you know, heavily populated areas in the summertime. I mean, beaches out front, they don't allow the dogs out there, right?
Right.
Cape May, the Wildwoods. I hate to see it happen that way, but maybe we're going to have to do
Might have to.
something like that.
We'll monitor as it goes.
But I would say,
Does-
take a sectional, even maybe try the time thing.
Right.
You know, because, you know, most of the residents and all A lot of them I know, we'll get up, usually you're up by 8, 7, 8 o'clock, take a little stroll down. I see them all the time, because they go right by the house and go down to the bay, you know. In the same way later in the evening, they're going to go see the sunsets and stuff.
Thank you.
I think it should really be addressed. It's been a problem over the years, dog attacks, dog fights, all that stuff, everybody knows.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, one announcement if I could. Next Wednesday night, at the Lobster House at 6 o'clock, there's going to be a retirement dinner for Claudia Kamer, that is a retired clerk after 37 dedicated years of service. That'd be the 10th of October. If anyone would like tickets for that, please see the municipal clerk.
Hi, George Doherty, Irma. I guess going back to the beach thing, just a couple things to throw in there. I guess posting a sign with the fine on there, you know, in a place where it's more visible, like a little bit into the beach, you know, instead of I don't know if
Yeah,
there
we'll
is a
look
sign.
again at the signs.
I don't know if there is a sign, but posted with a big, like,
Well,
$250
there are.
fine unleashed.
Yeah.
And also, there isn't a thing for bags. I bring my own bags. It's a retractable leash thing, it has a little bag holder. But I guess maybe that would help too, if you had a bag, we gave bags.
Dispensers there.
There is a bag dispenser there?
We have bank dispenser, we have signs that we, council wants me to take a look at maybe increasing the signs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, more, because I didn't really see the sign when I went in there last time, I didn't really notice it. I know, I saw it before, but it's not, if it was a little bit more into the beach where the walkway is, I think it would be a little bit more, you know, just move it maybe and post a big $250 sign, $1. And I guess, and on a totally separate thing, I just wanted to find out, I heard something about Cape May, where the councilmen were just provided brand-new cars.
You want us to have?
That was the city of Atlantic City that they were talking about cars. They were just taken away for the part-time officials.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. You guys don't require a car, right?
No.
Okay.
Well, since you brought it up.
What kind you want, right? Put your orders in.
What kind?
All right, I just wanted to find out if that was,
No,
you don't
kidding.
A little electric.
Yeah, they'd storm my house if I had that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Bill Greenfield. Here's a suggestion. How about we change the ordinance for anybody gets a ticket for their dog going on the beach, or they have to do community service, picking up dog poop.
I actually like that one. Well, I don't know that we can. I think that the courts may have a little bit of a problem with that. It sounds good. Anybody else? Close the public portion. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.